Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Prepper podcast episode. And I'm joined by our guest, Kelly, who is self-professed the monkey with the wrench. How's it going, Kelly?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's been one of those good days.
That's good. Good to hear. So, for anyone that doesn't know or can't tell by the accent, Kelly is in Florida. That's right. Yes.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
right. Florida.
So we'll start with the two basics that we say to our American friends. It's aluminium and it's football, not soccer. There we go. We'll leave that there. We can have a whole debate another time on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, first of all, we'd love to get to know you as a prepper. I know your channel's not really focused fully on prepping, but we'll go into that a bit later. So the first question I ask everyone on the podcast, which might sound weird, is, are you a prepper? Do you class
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
as a prepper?
Absolutely 100%, without a doubt.
There you go.
Proud
No,
of it.
that's good. That's good. See, I think that is one of the key differences still between America and here. The USA and the UK it's still a big stigma here, whereas it's a lot more accepted in the States, I think, amongst the right people, you know.
Yeah, well, I think if you live in an echo chamber over here, it might be more accepted, but it's still pretty much a stigma over here. I just never gave a shit what anybody thought, so I just say it like I see it.
Best way to be. Best way to be. So, are you prepping for anything in particular, or is it just general preparedness?
Well, being in Florida pretty much for the last 30 years, I'm originally from Ireland, born and bred, came here to America when I was younger. But being in Florida, we have to prepare every year for hurricane season. So it's something that's instilled in us uh, from the very beginning that you have to have supplies. You have to have, everything you need to get through possibly a few weeks or a month if a storm comes through and tears everything up like last year. And it kind of started there. And through the years, I've done different things that have kind of brought me closer to it. But I personally believe in a power grid failure, whether it's a CME or an EMP. One
Yeah.
way or another, the world is all tied to electricity. And when that falls, people just won't be ready. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of the main function of what I do. Of course, it includes everything when it comes to prepping, but that's my main reason.
Yeah, very similar to myself. I started by looking at the Carrington event and what the CME like that could do. And obviously, with recent times, the threats of actual man-made EMPs and stuff is obviously prevalent as well. But yeah, the grid down is a real threat across the entire world, that's for sure. So what got you started in the first place with prepping? Was that just moving to Florida, or you already had that kind of mindset? You brought up in that kind of thing, or
You started breaking up there, but I think I know what you said. When I moved to Florida, I lived on a sailboat. I've been a licensed captain for the last 35 years. So I lived aboard a sailboat. So I knew what it was like to have everything you need and be ready to go, sort of what people might consider a bug out bag. I kind of lived out of a suitcase because, in a boat that's only 30 feet long, you only have so much room for things. So I learned only to keep the things that I could use and the things that I might need down the road. And then being on the water, if a storm comes, you've got all kinds of issues where you can't sort of hunker down and wait it out. You have to leave your residence and you have to go somewhere else. So it kind of just grew from there.
yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, it's a good starting point because it's out of necessity. So it's not like you just getting random stuff like some people do off Amazon. You've literally really thought about that in a small space. So
Yeah.
it's a really good starting point. Do you find it more accepted over in the States to be a prepper since the pandemic? Has that made a difference to people's mentality?
Honestly, I think what you find across the board is most people don't pay attention. At any given moment during the pandemic, the stores were empty and everybody thought the sky was falling and the world was coming to an end. And then the minute they could go back to the store and pick up their loo roll or tin, can, whatever, they completely forgot about it and went, oh, okay, I guess that's over. So over here, it's not really something that you hear about in everyday kind of life unless you're watching prepper channels or facing down a hurricane or just went through a hurricane. So no, I don't think it's a something people pay too much attention about.
So for the hurricane stuff, do you guys get actual guidance from the state to say this is what you should have?
No, there's different websites mostly that like the news media put out, and I think Florida has a homepage that gives you an idea of what hurricane supplies to get. But it's all the basic same kind of stuff you guys just got for your 3-day preparedness. Batteries, flashlights, a little bit of food, some water. They don't give you a whole lot of guidance. They just say, what if the power goes out and you have to leave your house for a couple of weeks, what you should have, and kind of leave it there.
Yeah, so pretty much like ours, be vague enough to not scare people.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking through my notes at the same time here. So I come across a few different channels, obviously, in this because on YouTube the US presence for prepping is a lot larger. There's a fewer UK preppers. A lot of them are these doomsayer fear mongers. We've all seen them. We all know who they are. But a lot of them now focus on the leadership, and we've just had an election called in the UK. Now, everyone in the UK knows no matter who gets in power, not much is going to change. But do you find with the election coming up for Trump and stuff like that, that changes like the scale of the prepping people do? Does that add to the fear? Does politics involved with it?
One of I have a rule basically, but it's two things you don't talk about. I was security. I was a bouncer for 30 years. So two things you don't talk about in a bar: religion and politics. But I will hit politics for you. The problem with America is they stopped teaching Americans how government works. They don't teach it in school anymore. I'm 50 years old and they haven't taught it. My daughter didn't learn how government works, and she's 32 now. They don't know how their own government works, so they blame the figurehead. They blame Joe Biden. They blame Trump. They blame whoever's in the White House, and they don't understand that it's Congress and the Pentagon who make all the rules.
Yeah.
And so they get it in their head that I'm going to vote for this guy or this guy, and they're going to change everything, and they're going to make all the bad stuff go away, and all the bad stuff we're dealing with now is from whoever's in the White House right now. They have no clue that it's not microwave popcorn. It doesn't happen overnight. We're paying right now for the shit the last guy did, and the new guy can't change anything because he can't write any rules. The president can do less than a handful of things. It's Congress that runs the government. So until they remember or figure out how government works and start voting for the representatives of the House and Congress, nothing's going to change. So people just tend not to pay attention.
Yeah, again, seems to be the safer option sometimes, doesn't it? So for you personally, I mean, I probably know the answer to this, obviously with the hurricanes and things like that. But are you predominantly bug in or bug out?
Oh, I'm bug in all day.
Yeah,
and there's a real simple reason for that. People have this idea, this somehow over romanticized idea that if the shit hits the fan, I'm going to bug out. I'm going to go out into the woods and I'm going to eat deer and live off the wild. What they forget is in America, there are 350 million people that live in this country. If the shit hits the fan, 80% of those people are not going to have supplies to get them past day 3. So if everybody bugs out, you're going to be in the woods with 100 million other people who have nothing. They don't even have a backpack, let alone a penknife or a torch or a candle.
yeah.
And so when they see someone else, they're going to just want to take what you have because they're more important than you are. So bugging out is the dumbest thing I can think of for anyone to do in an emergency. The only reason that I would consider bugging out a situation is if the town was on fire from an overhead bomb, if a hurricane came through, like last year, a hurricane wiped out a town called Sanibel here in Florida, and like 10,000 people were displaced. There was no town left. They had to go. But other than that, you stay home. You stay with your preps. You stay with your neighbors. If you have a tribe or a mag, hopefully they're close by. and you plan on staying, because in my opinion, if shit really hits the fan, anybody has seen movies and TV where the highways are backed up, you know, miles and miles and miles. Where the hell do you think you're going to get to? You ain't getting anywhere.
Yeah.
So unless
Yeah.
you've got some kind of plane that's going to get you above all that and get you somewhere, you're, as soon as somebody sees you go by on a motorbike, they're just going to clothesline you and take the bike. I
Yeah.
mean, nobody thinks about these things. You're not going to make it to your bug out location.
Yeah.
So I just don't see any reason.
I find that really interesting that that's your point of view, because over here we have that mentality of bug in, because literally the wilderness is tiny in comparison with the States, whereas obviously you've got like quite vast areas of wilderness there. So we all think, oh, you're all going to bug out. But when you think about the population, it makes perfect sense that you're just going to bump into people all the time. There's going to be no safe place, is there?
No.
Not where you can get to with easy access anyway.
And even if you do, when people are starving and dying of thirst, like I hear this thing, this gray man term all the time. You should go gray man and walk around with a regular backpack instead of a military backpack. Dude, if you got a purse, they're going to kick your ass and take it because they have nothing.
Yeah,
So
then they're not
everybody's
looking
gonna
at your
try-
fashion choices at that point.
No, they're looking at, is this guy look skinny and sick, or does he look like he's been eating? Because if he at least looks like he's been eating and he's not sick and stumbling around, he probably has something that I want. You can't go gray man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. The only time I've really spoke about that is more so with the actual home. So making it look unappealing in that way, because they talk about grey man in that way, don't they? Where they make your bug-in location look like it's not something worth ransacking. So
I think that's one of the first videos I saw of yours, which is kind of why I started leaning towards you. You're not a doom and gloom kind of person like most of these idiots. You kind of tell it how it is and you lay out facts and you get people thinking about stuff. But I remember the episode where you said, you know, let your grass grow, leave the toys all over the place, and just kind of make the house look run down as the gray man situation. And that I completely understand, because it's those people that are going to go and first thing board up their windows. Well, if you board up your windows, that tells me you're inside and you have a reason to board up your windows. So that must mean you have supplies. So I'm targeting your house first.
yeah, it makes me laugh in things like The Walking Dead, where they're like barricaded inside a fortress town or a prison that's like fortified, and it's like, what's the first thing they're going to think? Oh, that'd be a good location for us, so they're going to want to try and take it, right?
Yep.
Which obviously leads to your season finales, but it's good, you know, it's good writing. But so you did kind of almost touch on the next and last prepper question, is lone wolf or mag? What's your kind of philosophy?
Mag, tribe, okay? But I'm kind of the exception to the rule because I'm an asshole. Nobody wants to be around me. So I don't have a whole lot of friends. I just keep a very small circle.
Yeah.
I in order not to go overboard, I don't surround myself with other preppers because that's all they want to talk about 24/7. And I have a life to live. I have a YouTube channel to run. I have theme parks to visit. I have kids' charities to fund. I have things to do. So I find that when I surround myself with people in the prepping community, it kind of consumes my life. And I don't want that to happen either. So I prefer a tribe, a group. You can't do it alone. There's no way you'll make it alone. You can't run 24-hour security. You can't watch your own back. So in the very least, you should at least know your neighbors and know who's available. A perfect example, when I moved into this house, I started getting to know my immediate neighbors. We started bringing up conversations about firearms and how I go to the range occasionally. And the reason for that was not to say, hey, I'm a prepper and I'm worried about the grid falling or World War III. It was, have you ever been to the range? Do you know how to handle a firearm? That way I know, because I have lots of firearms and I want to know, if I give you one, are you going to accidentally shoot yourself or shoot me in the process? Or do you at least know how to handle a weapon?
Yeah.
So the best I can do is know my neighbors and have a few local people that I know that I can count on when the time comes. And relations with those people makes all the difference in the world. Because of what I do for a living, I'm always fixing something or building something or fixing someone's house here in the neighborhood. And every time they say, "Well, what do I owe you?" Nothing. Friends don't charge any. And you kind of build that relationship up that way without saying, if the world comes to an end, you better come around my house and I'll give you food and a gun and this and that. You just kind of build up good relationships with people. You can't trust anyone in a bad situation, but you have to put trust somewhere.
Yeah.
So you can't do it yourself. So
It's
no,
good.
I'm definitely not.
I like that. So it's like it's the equivalent of building a mag without, going through the process of let's all get together and train and let this consume our life. It's like, no, we just really know each other and know I know you and you can handle a gun. I know you can cook but never touch a gun. It's that kind of thing, isn't
Right.
it? Yeah,
Right.
I do like that. Yeah, it's a good way to be. The lone wolf thing is there used to be so many of them on YouTube and things like that, and it's just like they think they're Rambo. They think they're gonna, the ultimate survivalist, and that's the first guy to die.
Well, unfortunately, that's what we were trained to do. Every movie that you watch, every television show that you watch, it would be a really short movie if Rambo died in the first shootout, right?
Yeah.
So, in order to make it to the end of the movie and have a happy ending, you pretty much relate to being Rambo. So, Rambo made it through, you're going to make it through. And I talk to people all the time, and they're like, well, I want to watch the new season of The Walking Dead because so and so might die, or I can't believe so and so died last week. And I'm thinking to myself, there are 12 living people in this show and 100 million freaking zombies. Which one do you think you're going to be? Because 100 million of those people didn't think they'd be zombies, and that's exactly what they were. But we relate to the person who makes it through the show or through the movie, so we think, oh, everything's going to be okay in the end, and it's
It's that mentality that a lot of people have. That same mentality where they don't lock the door. That same mentality where they don't take precautions. It's that it'll never happen to me mentality because you are the star
correct.
of your own show, right? So
Correct.
everyone's the main character. None of us are NPCs.
But and the other side of the coin is that people will go overboard. Like I watch a lot of firearm channels, and I don't want to say the 3-letter word because I don't want you to get bombed for this. But I watch a lot of firearm channels, and they talk about their EDC, their everyday carry. And first of all, they have a purse, and I'm not putting that down at all because I have my purse right here. This is my EDC. And then they talk about, well, this is my main firearm, and this is how many mags I hold for this, and this is that. And then this is my backup firearm. And I'm going, what do you live in, Beirut, dude? You live in Wisconsin. How many times in your life have you ever actually pulled that weapon? You're 40 years old. How many people have you shot? Why are you worrying about carrying 6 magazines and 2 guns and 3 knives and a flashlight and a tourniquet? When have you ever used that stuff? That is something, you have to live 2 lives. You have to live the life of, this is my life. I have goals for the future, and this is what might be, and I'm prepared for that too.
Yeah. Do not lose track of, don't get consumed by it. I'm a full advocate of that, total preacher. You just completely reminded me of the scene in Commando where he's getting all the knives and everything like that and the grenades, and that's what they're modeling it on, right?
Believe me, if I could pick up my laptop and show you, I'm in my office right now, which is an enclosed trailer that I turned into an office. So it's 7 feet wide by 14 feet long. And if I showed you around right now, I've got rifles, I've got pistols, I've got magazines, I've got rounds, I've got knives. I could literally do the commando thing right now and walk out that door looking just like he did in the movie. But I don't take that into my life. I only half the time carry my EDC with me because it's too hot down here, and what do I need my purse today for? I'm not going into the inner city. I don't feel like I need to take my handgun, which is right here, by the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't need to do these things because I don't live in Rafah. I live in America, and you have to be sensible about what you do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just fear.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's my philosophy all the way. Right. Let's talk about your channel. This is why we're here. So your channel is mostly like excellent details, mechanical advice with videos. One of your videos is like up to 266,000 views. I think that was a lawnmower backfiring, if I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, you've 4 years on YouTube, from what I can see, 723 videos, 11,300 subs. So yeah, it's an excellent channel. Interestingly, when we first spoke, you said that you weren't a prepping channel and that you started doing a little bit of it. I noticed like the first video you did, or the first one, I mean, I don't know if you did any before and they've just been deleted, but the first one I could see was a DIY N95 mask.
Yeah, that was back during the beginning of COVID, and that was I was trying very difficult to decide which way I go, because I actually have two channels,
Mm-hmm.
and my second channel was actually my first channel. I think it's got like 1,500 subs on there, and I was desperately wanting to do a prepper channel. I made a few videos on there, all of which were removed by YouTube. I guess I said the wrong words or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And I was sitting at the house one day thinking, you know, what can I do that would sort of be prepper related and sort of just kind of go in a different direction. So I made some BS mask with, I think, a handkerchief and some coffee filters or something. And
Yeah.
it's, believe me, every time I go through my videos, including like 2 days ago, I want to delete that video because it's so old, and I'm like, it's not going to hurt my algorithm. I just need to get that piece of crap off of the channel, but I just kind of leave it there, and I don't even know why.
Keep it, always keep it. It's good to look back and see where you've started from and stuff like that. So as well as all the mechanical advice, I mean, what's your experience there? What's your background? Why the stuff that you do? Is that just through tinkering over the years, or is that a career that you've had?
Well, yeah, once I came to America, I grew up in foster care, so we didn't have any money. So if we wanted anything, we found a bunch of old junk and sort of junkyard wars, put it
Yeah.
together and had to learn how to fix things. And so I've been working on this stuff for close to 40 years. And when the pandemic hit, I wasn't sure which direction either one of my channels was going to go, but I wanted to do something that would help my local area, because everybody was having trouble and I couldn't think of anything else to do. So I put a few ads on the internet and said, I'll fix your machines for free, lawnmowers, jet skis, whatever, just to kind of help save people money. And it was my way of doing something for somebody else during the pandemic. And a couple of my customers kept having the same issue, and they would call me up or send me a text and say, can I bring it back and you fix it again? And I'm going, yeah, sure. And 5 minutes later it's fixed. And I thought I should just make a video and show you what I did to fix it, and that way when it happens again you can just watch the video. And I posted one or two videos, and I don't even remember how long it was, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And for some reason I went back and looked because I wasn't paying attention to numbers at all. And there was over 5,000 views on the video, and I went, what just happened? What is this about?
Yeah.
So I started making videos as sort of a CV to say, hey, I'm eligible to work on your machines, and here's my history. If you want to see me work on other machines, this is sort of a way for me to say, here's my references, so to speak. So if you want to give me a $20,000 machine and you wonder why I'm working on it in my backyard, here's the proof. Here's everything you need.
Yeah.
And it's just grown from there. We're about to break 5 million views on the channel.
Nice.
And I never thought that was going to happen. So
that's superb. That's excellent. So your decision recently is to kind of diversify back into that prepping world, just with you said like every so often you'll do a video for that. Is that because of the current state of the world, or?
No, well, sort of. I mean, I watch everything. Don't get me wrong. I watch channels that I won't mention here that I absolutely think are fear mongering idiots.
Me too. You've got to watch them, haven't you, just to see what the hell.
I watch them to make sure I'm not going crazy, first of all, and second of all, I like to see both sides of the argument. I need to know, because if I have to face somebody like this someday in my real life, especially if shit hits the fan, I need to at least be able to find some common ground with these people. And most of their videos, I get maybe halfway or 3/4 of the way through, and then I'm like, oh, you don't know shit, and I click off, and that's I can't get myself to watch it all the way because they're morons. But what I found was I have so much information. Like everybody's talking about their Berkey water filters. Here's my $20 stainless water filter that I use every day.
Nice.
I have so much information that I can readily pass on, and now I have an audience that's actually interested in it. So what I decided to do was my members only videos are going to be more like what I do in my personal life. So they're going to be aquarium related, and they're going to be prepper related. And that way I can get my audience to pay attention to some other things. And they go, okay, well, I like Kelly and he helps me out, and he, he'll talk to me via email and help me fix my own machine or make me a special video. So he's a really cool dude. Oh, and I didn't know that about him. He does this or he does that. So I can make these short, maybe 8 or 10 minute videos that are perfect for the algorithm and post them. And I figured maybe twice a month I'll post them to the public on my channel, and then twice a month I'll post them as members only videos on the channel. Yeah. And that way I can kind of steer people in other directions. Like since you and I started talking, I probably sent 30 or 40 people to your channel, just because they want to know, where they can get some information from, that's not going to try to scare the living daylights out of them. No fear mongering stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, check this dude out. He's pretty cool. Here's the link to his channel. Go see what you want to see, because I'm not going to send them to Nate or
When you start a video and you and the cameraman are in the room and you need a bulletproof vest on for that video, you're fear mongering.
I was laughing my ass off because I watched that video the day it came out, and all I could remember was a quote from the A-Team, the new A-Team movie that came out a few years ago. And Hannibal was standing in front of the general, and he asked about the guy, and he goes, he's wearing a bulletproof vest in the office. That should tell you everything you need to know. So when Nate's standing there with his stupid armor on, and he's looking like he's on meth, and he's talking, I don't talk shit, I just happen to be right all the time, and I'm going, you're a moron, dude.
We said we weren't going to name names, but we've done it anyway.
I know.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Honestly, I bit my tongue so many times, and it's the first time I've commented on one of his videos, and I've said, why are you wearing a bulletproof vest? Is the cameraman armed?
Nice. I let him have it one night about 6 weeks ago. I was watching his video, and it was pure BS. I mean, all it was him trying to sell products, because everything he talked about, he built up, and then he had a product to sell people. And I not only gave him a comment, but I sat there for about 4 hours, and I went through 4,000 comments, and I had something to say on almost every one of them, to the point where Nate contacted me and said, we should talk. And I said, absolutely. Would you like to do a podcast together? What would you like to do? And he wanted me to call him and keep it secret. I'm going, no, I'm not going to do that. You can block me if you choose to do so, but I'm not going to do some backward bullshit. And, I have an issue with you and the fact that you have an audience, and this is what you're doing to the people that watch you.
This is the problem. See, this is the problem. And I'm not going to single him out because lots of people are doing it. But
I'm going to give you a list of 20.
Yeah, well, I did a video a while ago on my channel, and it was because I watched one of his videos, and it was about making your own wet meal MREs and the process he followed. And I kid you not, I tried it 3 times before I filmed it, and then I filmed it, and I said, and I said on the video that I'm following this who did it, so I gave him credit. And I did it all, and loads of people liked the video, and they commented, oh, yes, this is going to save me a fortune. I'm going to do it. 3 days later, I went to check them MREs, and they'd inflated. They'd gone horrible already in the space of 3 days. After a week, I opened one. I'd have killed somebody. So instead of deleting it or pretending it didn't happen, I put an apology video out and said, I made a mistake. Don't do this. He put that video out 3 or 4 years ago, and it's still on his channel offering advice. Millions of people could be doing that. That's the
problem.
Yeah.
They make these videos that look good, when the video posts, and you know, they edit it out and make it look like it worked out in the end, and then they post it and go, well, I got views already, so I'm not going to worry about it. And they don't think about the long-term damage they're doing to people. Like, you and I both believe that we may have a power grid situation one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen so many videos on making your own Faraday cages and how you can protect your vehicles and all this stuff. 90% of that stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
But by the time you figure it out, it'll be too late because it will have already happened. And then who are you going to tell?
Mm-hmm.
So you're the one that has to deal with it. You're the one that has to spend hours and hours researching and then testing things to find out, because otherwise you're going to be standing there with nothing but your ding dong in your hand and nobody to complain to.
That's it. I think if a lot of after post Teotihuacan, if one of these people are walking around and people bump into them, they'll be like, "You told me to." They best have a secure bunker.
I have a list of people in my head that if I see them, they're going to meet Mr. Lead, because that's how much I dislike them. And there's one guy in the UK that's like that too. And thankfully for him, I'll never see him if something happens. But these channels over here that I forced myself to watch, because every once in a while I'm looking for a nugget of information or something I hadn't thought about. The fact that they're just misleading people and clickbaiting them and lying to them and fear mongering. If I see you, it's going to be the last time anybody sees you.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I feel I've only got 3,000 subscribers. I'm amazed at that. I never expected more than 1,000.
Congratulations, by the way, because I know you just passed 3,000.
Yeah, I mean, I never expected that. But even with them numbers compared to their numbers, I understand that it's turned into a business for them and a money-making thing, and it is possibly their livelihood that's paying the bills. I get that. I still feel like I have a responsibility to them people. And in good conscience, if I gave somebody bad advice, if I told you this is how you do this, if 3 months later something disproved it and I was like, oh my God, I've told them, I'll go back and tell you. I will say, listen, guys, I cocked up. This is no good. You know.
But see, that's the difference between somebody like you and I and somebody like New York Prepper or Angry Prepper or any one of these other people. They don't, all they look at is their paycheck that's coming out of this thing. They know that fear sells. I'm sorry, there's two things in the world that sell, and one is fear and one is sex. So if you can scare the people, you'll get the views, you'll make the money. I understand all of that. But that means that they've had to be drugged in the direction of politics, and they have to, like, there's one channel that I can't stand, and he gets all of his news from Twitter because he just sits there and watches the feed, and if something changes, he makes a video about it inside of 5 minutes. Doesn't care whether it's true, doesn't care anything about common sense, but he made a video on it. He's spreading that news across his platform to 20,000 people that watch his channel on a daily.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few days later, when it's found to be false or it was misleading or it was incorrectly, he doesn't care. He just never talks about it again and moves on. And I'm going, okay, if you want to be a prepper channel, then help people learn how to prep. Don't fear monger just so you can get, money off your videos, and don't go political. That's all.
Yeah. The UK person you're on about over here, I think I know who you mean. We'll speak about that after we go off. But yeah, I think they've gone down that same sort of path where it's money orientated. We've completely gone off on a rant. I love this. This is how it's supposed to be on an unscripted podcast. This is what you do. So as a prepper, well, I think I don't even need to. This is the question, but I already know the answer. I was going to say, as a prepper, what do you see the biggest threat to us globally and locally? So locally, obviously, is your hurricanes. Globally, you're the same as me, grid out, right?
Right.
So there you go. That was a pointless question.
I want to bring up two things. One, I don't believe we'll ever have a global nuclear war. Common sense tells us that that's not going to happen. We're talking about nuclear weapons that were designed 80 years ago. Mm-hmm. We already have better technology that we can do way more damage to our enemies without destroying the planet. That's an EMP. A high altitude EMP detonation of a nuke can take out a whole country's power grid, and the people will devour themselves without destroying the plant life and the world. And even rich people do not have special machines that make oxygen. They don't want to go down into a bunker and live especially since they're thinking that they're going to be in control, and they bring military with them, and the military is going to mutiny right against them and say, well, we're not going to listen to you. You took away our whole world. They all know the reality of it. So I do not believe we're going to have a full nuclear war. Will we see a tactical nuke? Yes, I absolutely believe that before the end of the year. But that's not the end of the world. And the other thing that I wanted to say, maybe you can pass on to your viewers if you feel any more than what I say is important. I keep a bag right here next to me because everyone's always asking me about barter items. And barter items to me mean something that you can give to strangers that will not make them want to come back and steal your homestead or steal everything that you have. So for barter items, I keep a few simple things. One of them being anti-diarrheal medication. I get a 12-pack of anti-diarrheal for $1.25, and everyone is going to be drinking tainted water and eating bad food, and you know how bad diarrhea can be. So if you can give them a 10-cent pill that makes them feel better for 24 hours a day, they will love you forever. They'll trade you anything they can, and they won't come steal your house because you have a little bit of diarrhea medication. The other thing that I keep are external hard drives. I have 64 gig sticks here. Right here is 15,100 songs. I can watch this on any cell phone, tablet, laptop, whatever, and it simply connects with a regular cord. I can connect it to my cell phone. So if every person in the UK or in America has a cell phone that does still work, I have solar panels. I could recharge your cell phone. I have hundreds of these. I can trade these for water and food and throw 500 or 1,000 songs on there in about 10 minutes. And I can save my life, I can save my family's life, and I can give this to you and say, when your phone dies, bring it back, I'll charge it. Nobody's going to come take my house over a solar panel, and nobody's going to come try and shoot me over a freaking thumb drive. But this is something you can barter, because when you take away people's phones, you take away the internet, they have nothing but boredom and fear. If you can give them some semblance of reality, some way to get away, to just zone out to some music or watch Raymond, or I've been getting a lot of British television shows lately. Not Going Out. I just got all the episodes of Not Going Out the other night. If you can trade them something that allows them to zone out and forget the fear for an hour or two at a time, it will save their lives and it will save yours, and nobody's going to shoot you over a thumb drive. So bartering items are important, but choose ones no one's going to come take from you. That's all I love that.
That's superb. That's excellent advice. Yeah, you've made me think about that, definitely, because bartering is something I've spoke about on the Fireside one with the other preppers. And I mean, I've got a cabinet full of whiskey, right? This is not this wasn't a prep. This was because I stopped drinking and didn't tell anyone. So every birthday and Christmas and occasion, I got bottles of whiskey.
I got the same thing right behind me. I stopped drinking, but I didn't tell anybody.
But ideally, I don't want to trade that. It's fuel. It's an antiseptic. There's so many uses for it, you know. And obviously, I might need a glass of whiskey after the SHTF.
And it also makes you a target. If you have food, liquor, honey, bullets, that tells people that you not only have enough to give to them, but you must have more, and it makes you a target.
Yeah.
That's why I have a problem with most of the things that are considered bartering material. That's why I do anti-diarrheal medication. You can get a bottle of Tylenol, or you guys would call it paracetamol, and over here you get 1,000 tablets for $15. That comes out to, I think, $0.015 per pill. This will save your child's life when they have a fever. This will save lives and make people's life better. And nobody's going to burn your house down because you wouldn't give up the Tylenol.
Yeah.
This is a prep that you can barter. There are a lot of things that you can get to barter that will not make you a target.
I'll make you laugh with that one. The restrictions in the UK says that sort of thing. So paracetamol, we can only buy 2 packs of about 15 tablets, 2 packs in a single transaction.
What the hell kind of kitchen sink drunks are you people making over there with paracetamol?
No, it's basically they think if you buy more than 2 packs, you must be trying to kill yourself. So I am stocking things like that, but I've got to do it on every single shopping trip.
Yeah, no doubt. You know what? Send me your address. I will send you a case of Tylenol, Advil, diarrhea pills. Dude, it'll cost me like $150, and I'll just send you a year's worth, man.
I'm sure customs would have a field day with that one.
Yeah, no doubt. We got to put it in the crack detector and see if it turns blue. Yeah, I know.
So yeah,
Wow.
it's a good idea. It's a cracking idea. So I mean, it is something that I already stock because I thought, I mean, it's not expensive. It's the equivalent of like 50 cents. You can get one of these little packets for. So you're spending $1 each time you go shopping, and it soon adds up. So it does stockpile, and it is a really good idea because you can just cut 2 or 3 off and literally give them exactly what they need, just as a relief, like you say.
Sure.
I love that as a barter. I never even thought of that. You know, me and Steve, the Everyday Prepper, went through a podcast and talked about barter items, and something like that never even crossed my mind. So I really appreciate that, and I'm sure the viewers do too.
That flash drive with 15,000 songs on it, I got them all off of YouTube. I pay $15 a month for YouTube without commercials, and they say you can download as much as you want. So I downloaded the songs right off of YouTube and put them right on my flash drive. I didn't even have to pay for that. And that's something that I can make copies of. And I buy flash drives. I buy 8 gig flash drives for $1.99. So for $2, I can put 1,000 songs on there and give that to somebody to give me a couple gallons of water or a can of food or something that I might need. And it doesn't make me a target. It doesn't mean they want to come back and take anything else I might have. So I'm all about barter.
Especially if it's the way you do it as well. It's the way you sell it. If you're swapping a flash drive for a couple of gallons of water, in their head, they might be thinking, oh my God, he's not got much water. So you're less of a target that way as well. So I like that. Final 2 little questions, just a couple of fun ones here, just for what's your favorite?
Beauty and the Beast and Frozen, my 2 favorite Disney movies.
I wasn't going to do that one, but it's good to know. Well, you said before we either have to be fearmongers or have sex appeal. So me and you are relying on our good looks to get all these subscribers now.
Nope.
We're not going to be millionaires, are we?
No, I'll be lucky if I'm a thousandaire. When I get $1,000 check from YouTube, I'm going, really? Is this for like 4 months? How did I do this? I'm never going to be a millionaire.
So yeah, what's your favorite prepper item that you own?
Honestly, I don't know. I have so many that I love, so I don't know about my favorite, but I can tell you my most used item.
Okay.
And that's the one that I showed you a minute ago, my water filter. I just use this thing every single day. It cost me less than $20 to put together. I bought the filters on Amazon. These are pots I bought at the local box store for $8. And I use this every day. And on the times when I just hit the tap for some water, if I forgot to fill this, I can taste the difference. So just between my tap water and my daily use, I prefer it out of here. So as far as the thing that I use the most, that's it right there. I guess if you wanted to ask my favorite, it would be a version of one of these. And I have 6 of them around me right now. But you guys can't have that over there.
Well, yeah, that's the reason I want a green card.
That's the only reason that I didn't move back to Ireland or move to the UK at all. Stop buying things that take batteries. Everything I buy is rechargeable.
Yeah.
These will get you out of so much trouble. If you buy things that you need batteries with, like my everyday flashlight is on my bag right here, and this takes a battery, but I couldn't pass it up because of the deal I got on it, and I love this little thing. But everything else I have is rechargeable because you can charge off of any car battery. You can hook any solar panel up to any car battery. You'll always be able to charge if given enough time. So don't buy things that need batteries. These are the things I'm sat at my desk right now. So I have my firearm there. I have my flashlight here, which I use almost every day when I go outside. These are the things that I keep around me. There are other things. I just posted a video on my channel about how to bury hurricane supplies. But if you pause the video and zoom in, you'll see that I'm burying rounds from my 9mm handgun.
That's what you need during a hurricane.
Well, yeah, because think about it. The house burns down, everything's fine. If somebody tries to loot, they're not going to find it. If, and I don't ever have to worry about it. So I put it a few feet under the ground and it's fine. And I put them in 5-gallon buckets with sealable lids. So it cost me $7 to bury $500 worth of gear in the backyard. Mm-hmm. And I never have to worry about it getting flooded or any bullshit like that. So,
yeah.
Another tangent. I'm sorry. What was the second question?
Excuse me. No, that's absolutely fine.
Usually I make the women cough, not the men.
I'd like to say it was you, but it's not. It's this electric bloody thing.
That's what she said to me too.
Perfectly worded. So the next one is, what's your biggest prepper mistake? Even if it was from the early days, or what's the one thing you did and thought, why the hell would I do that?
Buying cheap gear.
Right.
Everything that I buy, whatever I buy has to have a practical use in my life, with the exception of maybe a few hundred bullets that go in the ground. Most everything else has to have a practical use for me. So if I have a flashlight, I use it almost every day. The one that's on my EDC, I use whenever I carry my EDC. That one stays here at my desk. I use it almost every day. So the things that I purchase for after the fact are things that I use now. Right now, I have a solar system set up right there. I just did a video on my channel a couple of days ago of a very simple solar system. Now, I just got in the mail a new power inverter and a new solar controller, because I'm setting up another solar system that's going to run my shop so I can recharge all my tools and my camera equipment and make sure my channel's going well. So everything that I buy and use must have a practical use. It's not just sat in a cupboard somewhere, aside from the food that I put back. And what I learned was, at first, I wanted to have as many boxes ticked on the list as possible. All the big name people say you should have this and this and this and this and this. So on limited funds, I went to Amazon or I went to Walmart and I said, well, this matches what they said and it's cheap enough that I can buy it. So I just started ticking boxes.
Yeah.
And then as I would test the things out and try putting them to use, find out that they didn't work for me, or the quality wasn't that good, or I really should have upgraded, but I had no idea that I should have spent a few dollars more and got this larger unit than the smaller one, or this unit's too big and I really needed a smaller one. So the biggest mistakes that I've made were buying the wrong stuff or buying too inexpensive stuff, and not testing it out until somewhere down the line to find out that, I needed to kind of move things around. I've got another EDC right here. I can't even get it off the little hook that I bought, because you're supposed to be able to put your little friend in there and carry it. And the pockets, everybody on the internet said, oh, this is a great bag, you should get it. And you can't even put your fingers in the pockets, let alone use it for anything else. This was a waste of money. It was a little bit smaller than the one that I actually carry, that I can actually use, and it actually costs more than the one that I carry every day. So if you're going to buy gear, don't go buy Nate's stuff, because that's way overpriced. Go in the medium to low range.
Sorry, Nate. No adverts here.
You know what? I got something for Nate. So, but test your gear. Don't make the mistake of grabbing some stuff, putting it in a box, and saying, I'm all set for Teotihuacan. And then when it comes time to have to use it, you find out that it's not going to hold up to everyday use, or it's not going to hold up the way you thought it was.
Yeah.
So that would be my biggest failure in the beginning.
Yeah, it's good advice for anyone starting as well. Test everything, try everything, use everything. Don't just think, oh, I've got that emergency supplies, that will do, and forget about it. It's great advice. And I've been guilty of it, because part of you, when you first start this prepping journey, is like, oh no, I need to be ready for a solar flare, but it's going to cost me 10 grand to do a full setup. What can I do quickly, cheap? Oh, that's only a tenner. That's on this Chinese Temu site is gonna do the same thing. I'm sure. I'll get that delivered, and it's just a piece of crap.
Yeah, and the other thing, I'll tell people, and I've done this myself. I do this probably now every 2 or 3 years. If you want to know what you're going to need in case of anything you're preparing for, any sort of shit hit the fan situation, go into that one special room in your house, and everybody has one, and you'll find this panel. And when you open it up, there's little switches in there, and turn the main one off that cuts the power off to your house.
Mm-hmm.
Sit in your house for just a weekend. Just say a Saturday and a Sunday, from Saturday morning till Sunday night. Don't leave your house. Whatever you eat that's in your house. Whatever you drink what's in your house. Sit there and understand what true boredom is. Sit there without any kind of climate control. Now, if you have kids, obviously, maybe send the kids to a sitter or a family member or something. You don't want to put them through that. But if you can spend 48 hours alone in your head without leaving the house and with whatever you have, you will have a list by Sunday night of the things you want to buy to get ready for an emergency situation. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I think it was kind of through the lockdowns that we had over here. That was kind of a reality trip with that. And that was with power and with electricity.
That was with power and being able to go to the store, and you might not have been able to get everything you wanted, but you were still able to get things. You could go out to the store and...
Yeah, but even that kind of isolation you had, you can tell. So yeah, I get. Funnily enough, I've spoke to the missus about, because I want to do a video like this where you practice, where we turn everything off. So I've got to get her on board, because she's going to have no TV for 2 days. So
you don't have to get her on board. Listen, do yourself a favor and set up something with her family, and have her go spend the weekend with them, and maybe buy her a gift certificate to get her nails done and have a massage, and just say, hey, honey, go spend the weekend with your family, or do this or whatever, and then do it by yourself. Don't put her through it, because I guarantee you'll be on the couch for 6 months.
But is it not good to train the family up as well, though?
In every group, whether it's military, whether it's a family, whether it's a job, no matter what, there's a hierarchy. The reason that I'm so against homeschooling is because kids don't have access to other people's ways of thinking, and they don't learn their place in this world. Regardless of what that place might be, they don't understand that there's a hierarchy. So homeschooling your kids deprives them of being ready for the real world.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to a family, it only takes one person to be the leader. It doesn't mean that you're right 100% of the time, and it doesn't mean that you have to take care of them forever. Because I guarantee you, within a few days of shit hitting the fan, they're going to be watching you, they're going to be helping you, and they're going to learn faster than they ever thought they could. Because A, they have to, and B, you learn by doing. So it's not your fault that you're forcing them to do this after the situation happens. So if you're ready and you have the skill sets, you can show them how to do it when the time comes, and it won't take very long for them to come right up to your level. So no, training them out ahead of time, putting kids through that. I'm a big advocate for kids. I do kids charity work. Part of the money that comes from my channel goes to kids charities. I'm a huge advocate of children being able to be children when they're able to be children. Yeah, I see these preppers, and they've got their kids going through all these weekly exercises, and I taught my kid how to can, and that's all fun if you treat it sort of like a school project, maybe here and there. But when these people put their kids through this, and if you check in on them 20 years later, their kids are off somewhere else and don't even talk to their parents anymore, because they hated their child life. They didn't get to have a childhood. They were worried about the world coming to an end, and they hated you for doing that to them. So have the skills, have the knowledge, know how to implement it, have a plan ready, including your children and all those things. But don't put them through that.
Yeah,
let them be a child.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. You want them to enjoy life. You yourself, even if you're the one that's doing all the prepping, you need to take that time to enjoy yourself as well, and enjoy life as well. So never forget that. Don't let this control the consumer. What I do to prepare the kids in a way is, when we go on holiday, we go camping. Mm-hmm. And when we go camping, it's not sat in a tent on an iPad. We don't do technology, but they love it and they really enjoy it. So giving them that fun side of things, but also I can trust my 8-year-old near a fire. Lots of parents can't say that. You know what I mean? So I kind of teach them, but it's only like a week every 6 months where they're like that, but they do enjoy it. So
even if you do it like every 3 months or even once a month kind of thing, the problem with most preppers, and I don't really see this coming from you, which is another reason why I love your channel, is that most people get into prepping out of fear. And if you sit back and you speak to them long enough, or even if they have a channel and you watch their channel long enough, they will give away the reasons they became a prepper. Like the angry prepper, he was there on 9/11, on 9/11 when the Twin Towers fell. And when I saw him do an interview, it wasn't even on his channel, it was an interview for some news magazine. And the way he was talking about that, and then something else had happened shortly after that, those are the two reasons he became a prepper in the first place. It was purely out of fear. So if you're going into this because you're afraid of something going to happen and you think that this is going to save you, this isn't going to save you. This is just an insurance policy to buy you some time.
Yeah.
Your skills are going to save you. So the more things you can learn, not the more things you own, are what's going to help you through this. But if you can keep the fear out of it, like you said, you take your kids camping and you have a great time. Just don't make it their world, because you'll be doing nothing but instilling fear into those kids. And then you screw up their whole life. You screw up their childhood. They hate you by the time they're able to move out. They don't want anything to do with you. My daughter's 30 years old. I raised her alone. I did not raise her doing that, but she could cook, she could clean, she knew how to pay bills, she knew how to do all the things that are necessary to be a human being. She graduated high school with top honors. She got a full scholarship to wherever she wanted to go. But while I instilled these things into her, I tried to do it in a way, like you said, that was more fun than not. Okay, you might not like it this time, but we're going to do something different. And I was able to get those things into her without saying, the world's going to come to an end and you have to be ready for this, and this, and this. And that's why we're buying this. And I can't buy you a birthday present this year because I had to buy 16 extra cans of Spam. You can't do that, man.
It could have been worse. You could have wrapped up the Spam.
When she was little, before she was 10 years old, I used to go to the store and I would buy her, like if I bought her some art supplies, I would buy her paper and markers and different things like that. And I took the markers out of the box and I wrapped them all individually. So she had to open 20 packages of markers to get one marker at each time. And then I would go to the store, like an appliance store, and I would get a refrigerator box. And I would wrap an empty refrigerator box and have her open that on Christmas. So, yeah, I'm an asshole.
But they love the box more than the stuff inside anyway, usually.
Yeah, until they reach about 10, and then they hate you.
Then they're like, iPhone. No.
Speaking of markers, I also have these. These are to smuggle medication in if you have to go somewhere. They are very innocuous looking. That's a standard marker that you can buy anywhere. Pop the top off, take the inside out. You can put medication in there. People won't steal markers from you. You can put a lot of things in those.
Cool. Loads of advice. I'm sure we'll have to have you back on the channel because I'm sure we've only touched the surface here.
Or just check into my channel over the next 6 months because I'm going to make a video on all this stuff.
Definitely. His channel is below Monkey Wrench. That's at Monkey Wrench on YouTube. Are you on other platforms as well?
No, I have, I don't know, 8,000 or 9,000 followers on Twitter, but it didn't help my YouTube situation at all. And I was spending too much time on there. So I just kind of left the channel go dead.
Yeah.
I think I still have 8,000 or 9,000 subscribers or followers or whatever, but I don't even go on there. So and I don't do Facebook. So
YouTube is the place to find Kelly at Monkey Wrench. So check out his videos coming up soon. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the channel. Would you like to say goodbye to the folks, the watchers and the listeners?
Goodbye to all the folks, the watchers, and the listeners. Make sure you subscribe to Mike. This man needs the subscribers. He just broke 3,000. Let's get him to 5,000. I'm going to do a shout out on my next video on my channel for him. So hit that like button somewhere between my chin and my balls and help him out.
Right. Excellent. I don't even have to sign out now. You've done it for me. Superb. Thank you. Right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.